Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy DC coming back with another bullseye of a video here today on the channel. I wanted to do a free FLP for Rick Rubin. I like his production style a lot, especially Jay-Z 99 Problems. He's very important in hip hop and also rock and roll. Also, Kanye West Yeezus was another project that I was recently studying that made me be like, man, Rick Rubin is such a dope producer. Like, let me see if I could make a free FLP and give it away to y'all, and like learn, give some of these techniques that I kind of like studied off of listening to his music. So don't forget to check the link down below if you want to grab the free FLP. Okay, so let's get to it right now. So the very first thing I would use is the mastering chain. Let's look at the mastering chain. The SSL bus compressor is very important because rap music and rock music is kind of like cousins. You feel me? Because they're very mid-range forward. There's definitely difference, but for me, they sound very similar in the terms of subject matter. Rock and roll is like rebellious. Rappers is like rebellious to that rebellious spirit. And a lot of times with rock, we love like that hard knee bus compressor of an SSL, that 4-to-1 ratio. People forget about how as you change the ratio, the knee will get harder. But of course, most of the times you're going to be using slow attack and fast release, and that lets a lot of the mix come through. A lot of the great mixing and the moves that you've done will come through perfectly. But it's just the fact that you need the hard knee bus compressor to also come in, and sometimes use a sidechain filter to not look at the sub energy, but groove with the kick and everything. So then another great thing too from 99 Problems is like a great hype. Even Kanye West Yeezus, I Am a God, all the songs on the Yeezus album, they have this great hype to it. So I would use something like Jason Joshua's God Particle to achieve something like that. Then we have the Fruity Limiter, which we know like soft saturates very well and will give us the opportunity to have a lot of things that cut through. After that, we have the Pultec. If I was mixing a production by Rick Rubin, I know the bass would be great, but if it needed a little bit more of a oomph, I would definitely, boost like the 60 hertz cycle. I love how the 60 hertz cycle just really gives this nice overweight, twinky tubbiness to a bass, as well as, maybe using something like the bell. This is great to help a bass get a little bit more cut, a little bit more edge. So that's why Pultec would be great for Rick Rubin style production. And I know back in the day, Rick Rubin even worked with Slayer, which, oh my God, is one of my favorite bands too. Slayer. They got bangers, man. So yeah, the Fruity Blood Overdrive is great when you think about Kanye, a song from Kanye like I Am a God. That song that boom, 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 boom. Like when you want to get that upper fundamental of a bass, not the lower part, but just that edge, that grit, that growl to a bass. I think using something like a distortion pedal, a tube screamer, or Fruity Blood Overdrive is an incredible tool to get like the bass and everything to cut through. So then you have the kick. Definitely would take advantage of something like a soft clipper, as soft clippers have a great way of adding more mid-range to the mix. Sometimes I might clip the whole mix, but for the most part, I just clip individual elements that I just want to have that added mid-range, because that's what the soft clipper is doing. It's adding mid-range so it sounds louder to us while dropping the nominal level. And I think that the Pultec MEQ5 is a great tool as well, because the way it lets you like dip and peak and push and pull, it really helps you just sculpt out things that you want to cut through, like the kick. So that's what I would use on that chain. And then for a snare, maybe something like just like a transparent EQ. With guys like Rick Rubin, or any good producer that knows how to pick sounds, you don't really need to change their sounds at all. You feel me? Most of the time, what you have to do is that you just kind of got to retool the sounds or just build them around the voice of the artist, if that's what you're trying to do, or maybe something is stepping in the way of the artist's voice. But then I know a great thing that Andrew Sheps used on 99 Problems, the guy who mixed it, is the Fatso. And the Fatso is incredible because you got the transformer, which can add body to a lot of things. Okay, and then you also have like the different modes of compression, like bus compression, 1176. You have a brick wall limiter. You have a bunch of cool, neat things you can do, and also the warm circuit as well is a great way to get things to sound warm, pretty much. So it's a high frequency limiter. It doesn't always take off the top. It just takes off the top when there's too much, and that's why I would put it on something like my drum bus, where if everything is hitting hard, everything's smashing off, we kind of got a bodyguard, we kind of got a lifeguard, we kind of got a coast guard who's going to protect us within the boundaries of the sea of sound. Okay, so then after that, we have the pads. I would definitely use something like Spectre, because I love the way Rick Rubin's sounds always have this great harmonic density. Maybe because he's using like real analog keyboards and stuff like that, whatever analog hardware. It doesn't matter, but either way, we can recreate that sound by using something like Spectre that will add density to the low mid. Doing moves like this is great because it will give weight to the instruments. So now you have these super big drums, but also these super big sounds that can, stand right next to them on the scale. Okay. Then after that, definitely sometimes you're gonna have to maybe use something like a low shelf to maybe diminish the low end on one element from the other, especially when everything starts coming together, especially when there's something like a mastering limiter involved, or any type of limiter. Whenever you use a limiter or a bus compressor, it squeezes mid range, which makes more low end come out of certain stuff that it might not even really be there. Same thing applies to a clipper. So that's why using the low shelf sometimes is great because you're creating space for that low end to fully breathe without letting a certain instrument step over it. Okay. After that, I would definitely use something like a Neve 33609 on whatever it is, overheads, on whatever it is, because I know definitely for sure something like the Neve 33609 is very aggressive and it works for a Rick Rubin style production where everything is hitting hard, but still very minimalistic. You have a few sounds and you want these few sounds to really feel like they're meaningful. So that's why I'll use the Neve 33609, already knowing that the Neve 33609 is just a gorilla when it comes to getting aggressive, you know and yeah, of course with the vocal chain we would probably use the typical tube tech CL1B, but definitely would use some like a SSL, not a SSL, a Neve 1073. I would use a Neve 1073 because it has that transistor buzz in it, as well as a little bit of that transformer weight. A little bit of that transformer weight is great because it's going to make the vocal feel nice and heavy. And I feel like Jay-Z on 99 Problems, his voice had a really nice presence to it. So using maybe something like that mid-range bell, pushing it a little bit harder than we got to push it, but also then, scrolling through all the sounds is kind of like how I like to use it, and I pull it back a little bit and then use something like a low shelf or something like that to like get the vocals to still have body and stuff like that. So this is pretty much the end of the video here today. I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of our YouTube family. Don't forget to check out the free FLP down below. And I really appreciate you now, YouTube gang. Peace.